This is Passion Coach Robin, and this is the last day of my live class for the 5 keys to ignite as a force for good in your life. I appreciate all of you who've joined me today and over the past 4 days before this to take a deeper dive into how to achieve happiness. Have any of you seen the post about the balloons? And for the sake of those who may have missed it, let me recap because it introduces the topic that we're talking about today and the last key, happiness. It's about a professor with seemingly over 100 students. I'm guessing one of those college auditorium type classes. Well, anyway, he gave a balloon to each of the students in a marker, and he told them to blow the balloon up and to write their name on the balloon. And then they were to take the balloon into the next room and good. I'm glad some people have seen that. And write their name on the balloon, take it into the next room, and leave it there on the floor. When all of the students had accomplished that, he went into the room, he mixed them all up so nobody knew where their balloon was. And then he sent his students in the next room and gave them 5 minutes to find the balloon with their name on it. Well, they came back and none of them were successful. So he told them to go back in the room, and this time, instead of picking up their own balloon, to pick up someone else, any balloon, just pick up any balloon and give it back to that person whose name was on the balloon. Everyone had their balloon within 5 minutes. Everyone had their own balloon within 5 minutes. So the professor explained, these balloons are like happiness. If everyone is just looking for their own, it seems impossible. But if we place others' happiness first, ours comes quickly. So I want to tie that concept with an exercise that I did on one of my pre-recorded videos leading to this series of 5 keys. And the video was the expansion exercise. For those who haven't watched it, I want to do the exercise together. Sit straight. Okay, wherever you are, sit up straight unless you're driving. That's another situation. But sit up straight, pull your shoulders back to open your chest. And in fact, let's open our arms like you're waiting for a big hug. And while you're doing that, smile. Now, what I'd like you to do while you're in this position, close your eyes. And while you're keeping your chin up, how do you feel? Maybe a little silly, especially if there's other people there. But overall, do you feel more open? Now, think of something or someone that you love. A relaxing hot bath, your lover, perhaps you're gazing at a star-filled clear sky or across a calm sea with dancing sparkles from the moon. Maybe you're racing down an open highway in a Maserati. Whatever it is that you absolutely love to experience, think about it. While you've got your arms outstretched and your chin up and your chest open, how do you feel? Is it easy to smile? Now, open your eyes if you had them closed, and let's try something different. This time, hunch over. Put your fists to your chest and your chin, tuck your chin in and tuck yourself in like this. It's hard for me to do that because I always think of well, anyway. Well, I don't want to digress. Anyway, frown, tuck yourself in. How do you feel about it? Okay? Think of the state of the world while you're doing this. Think about war. Think about money. Think about all of that and you're clenching and you're how do you feel? Now try the same thing. Clench. Clench like this and your chin's in and you're frowning. And try to think of whatever it was that you thought of earlier when your arms were outstretched that you love. Can you think about that thing that you love while you're frowning and clenched in? Or does it want to make you relax and open up? This exercise helps illustrate the law of expansion. When you're feeling expanded, it supports and it brings positive feelings to you. So today, when you're walking around, remind yourself to expand your chest, to pull your shoulders back, and then come back and do a journal post. We've talked about journaling. Did it improve your day to walk around with your chest expanded? Now let's put this exercise together with the past 4 days, where we discussed setting a daily routine, scraping the inner barrel to discover our why and our deeper purpose, forgiveness, and yesterday we talked about silence and discovering alternative realities, but more importantly, discovering your inner authenticity. And now today, we're working on achieving happiness. When you're open, when you're expanded and willing to expand into the possibilities with a smile, taking it one moment at a time, and when you're open to the day without expectation, silence, mindful observation, living in the now, the moment, observing quietly the flow of life around you, noticing the details, as we did with that silence exercise or on the walk that I suggested that you do in gazing, and making every day count as if it's your last, as we discussed on Sunday when we talked about Stephen Levine. Can you imagine and wonder how that would feel? Add that up. Add that to just picking up one balloon a day, just one balloon a day to hand to somebody else. Just imagine. I want to come back to reality a little bit, although that's very real. I want to look at this from a world perspective. There are so many people who are miserable and afraid and busy protecting what's theirs, at war with others. And I'm not belittling any of this. War is a miserable thing. Fear is a miserable thing. But how can we, as just one person, have an impact on the world? How about one balloon at a time? If we focus on moving ourselves into a space of expansion just by walking around with our shoulders out, to move in harmony with the laws of physics that I've been talking about, and just have an impact like that one piano in the next room picking up the sympathetic resonance from the note on the violin in the other room. Think about it. We're surrounded today more than ever in turmoil, fear, misery. It's in the daily news. It's in our movies. It's in our games. It's in our entertainment that's fed to us. How do we, as one person, make an impact to change that? Do you ever feel helpless when you put it in that context? You don't have to be. It's by competing with ourselves and others to know more than the next guy that brings us misery, that we're more concerned about being right, being able to debate on what should be done, or instead of that kind of self competition, what about, and with others, what about getting into that sympathetic resonance of a beautiful note attracting beauty room by room? If you're not familiar with that metaphor, I'd love for you to go back and listen to the prior keys that we covered or those pre recorded videos. by simply being a point of joy for others, that one balloon, one by one, to experience and feel. That kind of impact lasts long before our, after, I should say, after our death, long after our death. To have that kind of feeling that you share with others. Maya Angelou said it, it's not what you say that people remember. It's not what you do that people remember. It's how you make people feel that they remember. Our greatest power is within each of us. Our happiness, our gratitude, our ability to share that with the people around us. Can we do it alone? Yes, but it's hard and it can be discouraging because we hit those inner walls, that subconscious paradigm systems of thought that we've acquired over a lifetime, and who knows, maybe before. It's like that old image of the devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other, and constantly in our ears, competing for what we should do next. We give up, we get stuck, we fall back without the support, we get overwhelmed with all the fear and anger in the world. How do we do it without somebody that holds the space that is safe for our growth? That's why I'm here, to help you keep going. What is our purpose, in fact, for all of us here in life? I know what mine is. I just shared that. I'm here to open others to hope, if nothing else, to hope. And I hope myself that expands to happiness, that I'm able to share the methods to walk into a chapter of life that is your best yet. It's not to scrape a living, to do the best we can, to fit in and debate. It's time right now in everybody's life to flourish, to be happy, to share that joy so that it expands out, just like the ever expanding universe, by sharing one balloon at a time, one person at a time. I want you to think about this just a minute. If you positively impact just 10 people in a year, that's less than one person a month. And each of those 10 people have an impact on 10 other people. In just 5 years, that's 100,000 people that have been impacted, starting with you. What is it that you want that impact to be? Do you want it to be contracted or do you want it to be expansive? It starts with establishing your own happiness, with your ability to let go of anger, to forgive yourself and others one day at a time, and to utilize the natural laws that surround us to stay open, to stay expansive. If you look at Marcy Shimoff, I don't know if it's Shimoff or Shimoff, anyway, her last book, Happy for No Reason, is it really no reason? Or is it exactly the reason we're here on this earth in this life? I want to step into Genesis, of all things. There's four primary lessons in Genesis when condensed. 1 and 2 share that God created the world and everything in it with man in his own image. And then he warns that we take our eyes off of God. That when we do, temptation to sin creeps in, and God asks that we do our best and that we be known for walking with God. So that's a very brief summary. Well, let's put this in context with what I've been sharing over the past few days. God is defined as the supreme or utmost reality. In terms of science, that would include the laws of expansion and sympathetic resonance. In philosophical terms and transcendental thought, that would be constant awareness of a universal soul with nature, its natural forces, its beauty, and ability to transcend us into a deeper awareness of life. That's actually the definition of transcendental thought. Speaking of definitions, let's look at the original Greek definition of the word sin. It means to miss the mark, the point, or the target, to live unskillfully and cause suffering. Hmm. Have we missed the mark? Have we missed the mark by not focusing on our own connection with the natural forces at work in the universe? With placing our own happiness as an important part of being here? Where do you fit? How long do you have to get to that point of living as God intended? To be happy, to spread that happiness, if only through resonance and one balloon at a time, to impact one person a day, a week, a month, whatever you can. So the fifth key to become a force for good in your life is happiness and to share it. In review of the past, of all of those keys that we've been talking about over the past 5 days, we looked at setting a supportive routine, discovering our deeper why, so that we know when we hit those subconscious blocks and walls, why we have to keep moving forward. We looked at the power of forgiveness, mostly of ourselves, but a, taking a day from our past and forgiving it too. Taking someone that we've been holding a grudge against in our past and learning how to let go of that as well. We learned about using vision and color to create and embrace our inner authenticity, and how to share and celebrate successes to support our happiness and further growth. So I'd be curious to know which of these keys resonates the most with you. I'm looking at the comments and I apologize. I get so caught up in this stuff that I forget to look at the comments. So forgive me. Um, One of you said you didn't have a chance to try the exercise. I hope you did earlier with us today. Happy to see the people that are here. Thank you so much for joining us. Which key in the comments, I want to ask you, which key resonates with you the most? Is it that setting the supportive routine, the daily getting up every morning and having that routine that supports you so that you can move forward in joy during that day? Is it discovering the deeper why? Why am I here? Why does this matter? What do I do when I hit those subconscious walls so that I can keep going? I can find my bliss. I can share it with others. The power of forgiveness. Again, mostly ourselves. And that's the hardest one. I hope you all take time to go and listen to the episode where I'm wearing a green shirt. That's probably the easiest way to refer to it. And listen to that. It's an important one. It's about forgiveness and it's about how to achieve forgiveness. And it starts with ourselves. I know many of you have heard that already. It starts with ourselves, but it expands and is important to take that forgiveness into your life for others on a daily basis. And then yesterday we talked about using vision and color, and we talked a little bit about the science of that because after all, I have a I'm a nerd. I enjoy the science behind all of this. Um, and inner authenticity is so important. And that's what those prior three goals help us do. Setting that routine, reaching for the joy, finding the why, finding the power of forgiveness. And by going in and by connecting with our own inner self to find that inner authenticity, there's another key. And I'm going to share this. This is okay. This is 4A. Since um, going in and using vision and color, this is a sub key, we'll call it, but it's not really a sub key. So is oh, through all that giggling, you know what I did? I lost it. Now I'm embarrassed. Okay. Um, I found it again. So going in, a lot of people talk about connecting with your inner child. And I do see that as important. It is important because, and we even talk about it earlier in the keys. We talk about how to get to that point of finding your inner child, but also connecting with it so that you enjoy that simplicity, that honesty that your inner child can bring, as well as to heal the pain that that child went through. But more importantly, and this is what I'm getting to, is once you connect with that inner child, to bring it forward in your life, not to become the inner child. We can't. We can't. We've experienced too much in our lives. But to bring that inner child forward, to connect with who we are today, through all of the experiences, through all of the pain, through all of the frustrations, through all of the setbacks, through all of what life does to each and every one of us, to reconnect and to merge it so that you can become your authentic self. It's not the child, it's not the misery. It's not the person who is struggling today. It's a combination of taking that child, finding happiness, and putting them together to really discover who you are authentically in such a way that you don't have to try. It comes across to other people so that when you lift that one balloon to share, they already know it just by being around you. That's part of connecting with our inner selves, our inner color, I'll say it, meaning the whole rainbow of what's inside of us. I hope that each day of this past 5 days, that each key opened some new doors for you. Are you going to settle for a life of complacency? A life that is anywhere less than optimal for you? And if so, why? Is procrastinating really an option for you? Do you want a life of daily happiness that's not only experienced by you personally, but that can spread to others? And you don't even have to try it, and you just pick up one balloon at a time. That you can, through this transformation of yourself, you can actually transform your existing relationships into much happier ones. You can expand out to help our communities be happier, be better. I'm so pleased that a recent client shared with me that not only is she happier, she sees a change from day to day. Let me read what she shared. In about 3 to 4 weeks, this is her quote, in about 3 to 4 weeks of working with Robin on a weekly basis, and not being one that has focused much on myself over the years, I'm surprised to realize just how much I am benefiting from her exercises and the wealth and variety of information she provides. I'm sleeping better, not letting the outside world stress me out as much, and I find I'm looking at life more positively. I really enjoyed her interview with Dr. Nina Meyerhoff on her YouTube channel, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that after I finish this. She also inspired me, and I'm even looking forward to working with some friends this summer on a project for children in our area. When I first read that, it literally brought tears to my eyes. This is why I'm here. So, in that quote, she's referring to a podcast I have on YouTube called Women of Passion and Legacy. And I know there's men in the audience. I don't want this to come across as only for women. It has to do with being the person that you are authentically meant to be. But if you're curious about this podcast, Women of Purpose and Legacy, please, I'll put the link. In fact, I'm going to copy it now and put it in there in the comments. And or if the link is not convenient for you, just go ahead and search when you get to YouTube for the literally quotes. In fact, you want to put it in quotes, Women of Passion and Legacy, and you should be able to find it. The episode that she's talking about was with Dr. Nina Meyerhoff, who has dedicated her life to international work in building peace. And it started with her work with children and locally. She was in the Northeast. And then from there, her life, like we've been talking about, it just expanded and took off. She met with the Dalai Lama, who gave her the task of helping children internationally. She took it very seriously. Um, she happens to be Jewish. She's since visited Auschwitz. And in fact, I was on a team with her to um, to build a peace center near Auschwitz. And that peace center has expanded and actually helped some of the refugees from the Ukraine. And she's now working on a peace project that integrates the Ukraine, the Middle East, both Palestine and Israeli, because there really is no difference between people. It's the anger again that I was talking about earlier, and the fear. Anyway, it's an incredible interview. So go listen to it. I've got another woman coming up in just a week or two who has been building schools in Afghanistan since before we entered the war there. And I have another woman coming up in another probably 3 or 4 weeks who will be published, who's been educating the Maasai in Africa to stop FGM, female genital mutilation. And she's been very successful in her work there. And there'll be more. And my ultimate goal is to interview my clients when they're truly ready to celebrate their own accomplishments. That's what I really hope. And that's my intent. That's my goal, to feature some of the people on my podcast who are celebrating what they've accomplished. So subscribe to the channel by going to the link in the comments, and I hope you'll enjoy it. and be inspired by the episodes coming up. Now, I want to ask you, why would anyone delay that kind of change in your life? Your energy transforms others, not just yours. I have to think, I have to smile and think of something because my son happens to be a commercial fisherman. So I'm going to use an analogy or metaphor. I don't know which word it is, but I want you to think about a school of fish. Okay, I'm sure you've all seen these pictures of these massive, giant schools of fish. They call them bait balls. Okay, and sometimes bait balls, these massive schools of fish, can extend for miles. I personally have been fishing in Alaska, and it's amazing to watch the bald eagles because bald eagles in Alaska are like seagulls in California. I happen to come from California. Bald eagles up in Alaska, the captains of the boats watch the bald eagles because the bald eagles in these huge congresses, I think they're called, fly out over these massive bait balls and start diving. Well, guess what else knows the bait balls are there? The salmon. But again, I digress. I didn't really mean to go into all of that. But if you think of one of these giant schools of fish, these bait balls, when just one fish changes direction because they perceive danger or whatever, just one fish changes direction in a split second, the entire ball of fish changes direction. Couldn't we do that? If we just change ourselves in our own community of people, couldn't we have an impact on others to change and go that direction as well? Why rely on just hoping for that change? Uh, for those who really can see the benefits of being happy for yourself and for others, of growing into a life of fulfillment where your children, your loved ones, your friends, your coworkers will be inspired by you. Your road ahead can be shorter and easier to accomplish this when you have support, you have feedback, you have experience guiding you, and the right tools at the right time from someone who has those resources and who cares, genuinely cares about you and your success. That's my big why. I recognized as a child that my path was ultimately to help others. I knew that. I used to lay under a tree. I remember when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and I had that feeling. I studied yoga as I grew up through college. I did life transformational work with numerous teachers and masters over my lifetime. I practiced meditations. I studied to be a minister at one point, a minister of life. I also went through many, many, many trials of pain. I'm not going to go into that in this talk right now. But through that pain, I finally recognized the path that was set for me long ago. I know that not only is my time now, yours is too. Otherwise, why are you here with me? Ask yourself that. What brought you here? I don't mean that to sound sarcastic. I mean that genuinely from heart to heart. Why do you think you are attracted to this talk? And why are you listening? I'm happy. I truly am. Every day I awake energized, regardless of how much sleep. The other day I only had about 2 or 3 hours of sleep, and I was so energized I could hardly stand it. I see and I celebrate the beauty of life every day, no matter what happens. I recognize that although my path is not anywhere near complete, I can help others. I can help you achieve your personal garden of life with all the beauty and all the inspiration and growth that you can achieve and share with those around you. I have the systems in place, I have the tools, I have the support I can access together with a lifetime of experience and knowledge. I can support you in getting to your place of peace, of purpose, of fulfillment, of joy more securely. In another video, and I hope you'll go back and watch some of the prior videos, there's one that talks about the silk scarf. I'm not going to go into that detail today, but I do encourage you to go back and find that. You can consistently achieve this growth faster than you can reach it when you're alone. My goal, my goal for each of you is to be able to celebrate within just a few weeks, like my friend and client I gave you the quote for. Just a few weeks to notice the change and to celebrate it for the good that you're developing in your life and for each of you to become energized with your own purpose. I spoke with her this morning because she wanted me to understand that her bringing up the interview with Nina Meyerhoff, Dr. Nina Meyerhoff, was something that really inspired her into action in her own life. And that's her sharing the balloon. And that's what you can do too. To recognize that change comes from inside of each of us and that it's our opportunity to grow, ultimately helping others to do the same. That's why we're here. If any of it sounds good to you, I invite you to sign up for a private Ignite into Joy call with me where we can discuss the next logical steps for you. It's completely free. I'm going to put the link in the comments, but it should also be featured in this live presentation. And I will also be putting a post in the group that has the link. So there's no harm, there's nothing to risk by just scheduling a call, and then together we can figure out where we go from there. It's free, and it's, other than having to wait for a life that doesn't fulfill your spirit, that's the real cost to waiting. Don't wait. Set up a schedule now. I specifically opened my calendar for 7 days. I'm anticipating a group that will be coming together in May, and I'd really love for you all to be part of that. I look forward to talking with you very soon, and my calendar is active, so it does fill. I've got several talks coming up that are going to require my time and concentration as well as clients. Okay, we're going to close for today. Please watch for the posts that are coming up. Oh, I almost forgot. Almost forgot. So yesterday I challenged our participants um, and offered a gift that if you can go back to the past, this one and the past 4 live presentations, and pick out something visual that has to do it underpins what I've been talking about for the past 5 days. Well, 4 days plus today. Not, and I want to point out, I gave them the hint too. It's not anything like the flowers or the Buddha statue. It's not that. But there is a subtle visual cue is the moment that I go live and forward through the presentation that ties into that day's conversation and builds through the five. It changes for each five, but there is a visual clue. If you can figure out what that clue is and make a post about it, about your answer in the tribe, I'll send you a free aromatherapy, which is something that we haven't talked about in any of these, but I'll send you a free tool for aromatherapy that'll help as well get you through the stresses in the various parts of your day. So that's a challenge for you. I hope you take me up on it. I'm looking forward to posting the answer. I was going to post the answer tomorrow, but because some of you have not been able to attend all five keys, I'm going to give it until, well, let's see, today's Tuesday. I'll give it until Saturday. So I will be posting the winner on Saturday. If there is one, maybe it's too subtle, but I'll at least be posting the answer on Saturday, and I hope you win. I do hope you win. Don't forget to reach for your blue sky every day and achieve the lifestyle of your dreams. This is Passion Coach Robin, and I hope to see you active in the Blue Sky Lifestyle Tribe. Thanks for joining me. Bye.